On air and online, this is the program where television meets the web. I'm Matt Cargill. This is News Exchange. Here are some of the stories in the news. No early pullout. The Prime Minister says Australia's mission in Afghanistan will stay on course despite the growing casualty list. A man who murdered a Sydney teenager he befriended on Facebook is jailed for at least 21 years. And Mitt Romney tells the Republican convention that it's time to turn the page on the Obama administration. Later, should companies be held to account for what their customers or fans write on social networks? A recent ruling means a Facebook page could be considered as a marketing tool. We want to know whether you think brands should be held liable for what's posted. Your views set the agenda on News Exchange, so make sure they're heard. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/abcnews24.au and on Twitter at twitter.com/abcnews24. Send your tweets using the hashtag NX, or you can tweet me at Matt Cargill. Australian forces are helping to lead a multinational hunt for the Afghan soldier who killed 3 of their own. The 3 deaths, along with 2 more in a chopper crash, have ignited a war of words, with one MP accusing Julia Gillard of having blood on her hands. Political correspondent Greg Jennett reports from Canberra.
Roger, tally, visual lead.
The US Marines in Helmand Province, and another mission for their workhorse Huey choppers. Australian Special Forces are frequent flyers, but on Thursday morning, a crash on landing brought the lives of 2 to an end. Lance Corporal Mervyn McDonald was 30 on his 11th deployment overseas and a highly decorated commando. At 23, Private Nathaniel Gallagher had been in the military almost 5 years. He was on his 2nd tour in Afghanistan.
We all feel this loss deeply, and our thoughts and prayers are with each member's families and friends during this extremely difficult period.
The names of the other 3 Australians killed that night haven't been released, but their home barracks in Brisbane is feeling the loss.
We understand how they were killed. What we can't comprehend is why.
The identity of the Afghan soldier who shot the troops at rest on base in Uruzgan province is known.
He is Sergeant Hekmatullah, a member of the Afghan National Army.
Tough controls have been ordered to keep watch on Afghan army soldiers. Defence admits there's no way to guarantee these attacks will stop, that they're a risk in the business of war. But no matter the dangers, no one authorising or running the enterprise from Canberra is for stopping it now. Not even in the face of impassioned political pleas to do so.
I can reach no other conclusion that the blood of those soldiers is on the hands of John Howard, Kevin Rudd and Julia Gillard.
I cannot countenance leaving before the mission is completed.
Because if we blink, the Taliban win.
They won't let that happen without a fight. Greg Jennett, ABC News, Canberra.
A Sydney man's been jailed for at least 21 years for using Facebook to lure an animal lover into bushland before murdering her. Carl Herr reports.
Nona Belamesov had a passion for animal welfare, but no one could have predicted it would lead her to her killer. Christopher Danovic set up a fake Facebook profile in another name, claiming to work for the Wildlife Rescue Service Wires. They arranged a series of meetings in bushland, and on one of these, she was blindfolded, pushed to the ground and held down. Danovic claimed it was part of a defensive training exercise, and she was persuaded to return a few days later, this time for a bogus training camp. On this occasion, though, she didn't make it out alive. Her body was found later in a shallow creek where she'd been drowned. Outside court, the victim's aunt spoke of the devastating impact her murder has had on the family.
No sentence justifies what this monster has done to this family. But however, 21 years non-parole is brought some comfort to the family.
Danovic's earliest possible release will be in August 2032.
Carl Hurth there. There are calls for a policy debate about new ways to tackle cybercrime. The 2011 Norton Cybercrime Report estimates the global cost of criminal activities on the internet topped $380 billion. That's more than the global market of cannabis, cocaine and heroin combined. The head of Australia's Criminal Intelligence Agency, John Lawler, says under traditional law enforcement methods, authorities can't move quickly enough to catch online criminals. Well, now to the case surrounding the television presenter Charlotte Dawson. Now, she's expected to make a full recovery. The pay TV host was hospitalised after being targeted by internet trolls. She was campaigning against cyberbullying after one user told her and one of her followers to, quote, "go hang yourself." The abuse was reported to the user's employer, Monash University, and a woman was suspended on full pay as a result. Afterwards, Ms Dawson was bombarded with vicious tweets. Many were retweeted by the presenter until the early hours of Thursday morning when she wrote, "Hope this will end the misery and then you win." People later rallied around her with messages like "sad day for social media" about Charlotte Dawson's hospitalisation. Well, let's get the view of social media commentator Laurel Papworth. She has a very different take on the story.
There's always two sides to every story. And if you're a television presenter and you've been leaving negative comments about a fashion model, a 17-year-old, on a Facebook page, or you've tweeted out, "please somebody kill him already," about a fashion blogger, well, the community sees that as being bullying and trolling in and of itself. To then take negative criticism made towards you, or even not made towards you, but is just part of a stream of conversations around a TV show, retweet that to your rather large Twitter audience, well, you're rewarding the community by giving them a megaphone every time they're mean to you or somebody else online, by paying them lots of attention. And while I'm completely against trolling and cyberbullying online, I would remind people that the internet sees hypocrisy, knows it, and calls people on it. That's a very dangerous thing to do, and I think that's what we've seen the last few days.
Well, aside from the Charlotte Dawson incident, there have been calls for a tougher stance to be taken on trolls. The New South Wales Police Minister, Mike Gallagher, has called for them to be, quote, dragged out of their mother's basement and put before a court. The opposition leader, Tony Abbott, has also been speaking on the issue.
I don't believe in censoring the internet, but we do have to have reasonable protections, and what we're looking at is the possibility of more capacity for takedown orders and so on, because every one of these sites is hosted by someone, and if the site is just hosting material which is completely scurrilous, which is obviously and needlessly personally grotesquely offensive, well, I think there should be some powers for takedown orders to ensure that people are at least more or less civil to each other.
So what's the best way to deal with trolling? Confront or ignore? Sean says, trolls, if you reply or respond, you feed them. Do you reply to crazy guy yelling on the train platform? He's just the same guy with social media. And Nina says, don't ever respond to a troll. Just block immediately. Let us know what you think. Use the NX hashtag on Twitter. And there's always support and help for victims of cyberbullying through Lifeline. The number is 131 114. US presidential hopeful Mitt Romney has made the most important speech of his career. He told the Republican Party convention that Barack Obama has failed to deliver the change he promised America. Mr. Romney vowed to rescue the economy and create jobs.
What is needed in our country today is not complicated or profound. It doesn't take a special government commission to tell us what America needs. What America needs is jobs, lots of jobs.
Well, even before Mitt Romney took to the microphone, he was upstaged by Hollywood icon Clint Eastwood. He was the surprise last-minute speaker to warm up the crowd. Eastwood's cameo included a monologue directed at an imaginary Barack Obama in an empty chair.
Okay, you ought to make my day, huh?
The appearance attracted plenty of comments on social networks, mostly negative. Even former Romney advisor Mike Murphy tweeted, "Note to file, actors need a script." Now, there was even a response from Barack Obama. On Twitter, his camp posted this cheeky image captioned, "This seat's taken." Well, Barack Obama used Reddit for his Ask Me Anything session this week, and it almost caused the social news site to crash. More than 10,000 comments were posted in an hour and a half. Mr. Obama fielded questions like, is internet freedom an issue you'd push to add to the Democratic Party's 2012 platform? To which the president responded, we will fight hard to make sure that the internet remains the open forum for everybody. And another asking, what's the recipe for the White House's beer? He responded, it will be out soon. I can tell you from first-hand experience, it is tasty. While mainstream media outlets cover most aspects of the campaign, journalism students are also getting in on the act. The web curator Storyful is teaming up with educators across the US to flush out other angles. Storyful senior editor Asher Phillips explains.
Storyful has spoken with journalism professors across the US, and they've all talked about their plans to work with their students to cover the election from a local perspective. Students are going to be spending the next 3 months taking videos, blogging, taking pictures, creating audio slideshows, curating through tools like Storify and live tweeting the campaign as they see it from whichever state and city they're in. So rather than having to encourage these individuals to upload content to a specific website, we're using a hashtag election eyes that will automatically display some fantastic content. Now, this is not necessarily a new concept. It was happening in 2008, but the technology really didn't exist to connect everyone so easily then. So this project is going to provide a really rich and comprehensive body of reporting, and it will focus on the issues that really matter to Americans because it's being created by Americans in cities and in states, as the campaign trail continues. And Storyful journalists are going to monitor this hashtag election eyes pretty much every minute of every day over the next 3 months and curate the most interesting content on the Google Politics and Elections page, as well as the YouTube Politics page. And of course, we'll be feeding this content out to our news client organisations, in the normal manner as well.
Asher Phillips there. Let's look at some stories trending in social media. Clint Eastwood is still there after his cameo at the Republican convention. Alan Jones has been trending. The broadcaster's made a controversial remark accusing women of destroying the joint. And the Paralympics are also there. It's day 2 of competition today. The deaths of 5 Australian soldiers in Afghanistan on a single day was Australia's worst day in combat since the Vietnam War. I spoke to Matt Grimson from ABC News Online. I asked him how such a sensitive story is covered.
It's never an easy job reporting on incidents like this. We were informed yesterday morning that 3 international soldiers had been killed in the Uruzgan province in Afghanistan. We were told that they weren't US soldiers, so we did fear the worst. Later on in the afternoon, Acting Defence Force Chief Mark Binskin informed us that they were 3 Australian soldiers that had been killed in this green on blue attack. He also informed us that 2 other Australians had been killed in a helicopter crash. As you said, it is the worst 24 hours for our combat troops since the Vietnam War.
Well, in other news, people appear to be interested in a story involving the ABC's Lee Sales and name-calling. What's